Oh, yeah.
doe je gaat niet. It's meeting for parents.
I'm scared.
Good afternoon. If you're just joining us, again, please make sure you mute yourself. I have muted everybody. We will start in about 7 minutes.
Sound good.
Good afternoon again. This meeting is being recorded. I'm going to start in about 3 minutes. Don't know exactly when this will end. We'll see. I don't have a whole bunch to show you, but I'll walk you through everything that needs to be walked through. And then I will, again, answer any questions at the end. Technically, we're scheduled for an hour and a half. If it's less time, that gives me time to go have lunch. And a bunch of people are writing things in the chat box right now about not being able to log on yet. If you are a new student at Torrance Unified, there is an issue with some of the uploading that our IT department is working with Clevver on currently to remedy that, and that should be hopefully fixed very, very soon. I don't have answers to those questions particularly, but I will walk you through how to log on to Clevver once the student account information is updated for you. So I would check back again in like a day or two, and it should be all fixed for you. So we'll wait about 2 more minutes, and then I will get started. If your student already knows how to access Clevver, I see this in the chat box, you don't need to be on here unless you would like to access it yourself. As a parent of a middle schooler and an elementary student myself, I want to be able to access their materials as well so I can check up on them. My son is not always the best student. Again, feel free, if you trust your child to get on there, then you're good. There's no requirement to be here at all. So our elementary students through middle school and high school all use Clevver as a landing platform, and I'll talk you through that here right now. So here we are going to begin. So Clevver, maybe I should start back with, my name is Emma Biggs. I'm a math resource teacher for Torrance Unified School District. Formerly, I taught math at West High School. And you had my students using Clevver to log on to applications all the time to keep us active. I will work my best to monitor the chat box as well as keep teaching you a little bit about how to log on to Clevver. Again, it's a great, easy tool as a parent to make sure that you can help your students with in terms of getting towards applications, as well as for you with their login information to access things you would like to. My own child, my son, is not always the best at doing material homework. And so I was very much having to monitor his work. And so being able to log on to some of his platforms was very helpful for me. So again, welcome. This is all about Clevver and logging on to there. This session is being recorded. It will later be posted up on the TUSD parent page, which I will show you where that is in a few minutes. Hoping I have a couple comments in here about my volume not working right.
I hope that's better. Okay, so here we go. As we go on, the first thing we want to know when we get started is that your child is provided with a secure login and password that's specifically for your child. If you don't have that information already, again, you can ask the teacher for that information when school starts to help you out with that. It is their student ID number, and then the login includes 2 specific letters, and that will help us log into every application that we need. So when we log on to Clevver, specifically, we want to use the Google Chrome browser. So we want to make sure we have that downloaded on whatever device we're using. I personally have that browser on my phone and my tablet, my personal computer, my work computer. It's a very easy one to do a lot of the things that we do through Torrance Unified School District. The second one we want to do is in that search bar, we're going to type in the clevver.com/in/Torrance into that web address bar. If there's anything that you're going to get from this and you're going to write down and take note of or screenshot right here, that would be this web address here. So it's the clevver.com/in/Torrance into our address bar. That's where we're going to always go to, or one easy way to access Clevver. Once we click on that, we're going to log in with Google. And we're going to use the student information to log in with Google. And I will walk you through this here momentarily on an actual student account so you can see those steps. But again, first 3 steps right there: Google Chrome browser, the web address for clevver.com/in/Torrance, and then we're going to push login with Google. This is where now the next 4th and 5th step, this is where it becomes important to look for to know your child's email address and password. So again, right here, this box will come up that you see here about signing in with Google, and you will enter the student's student ID number and then @etusd.org. That will be their email address, and then you will push next. On the following screen, you'll be asked to type in your password. The password will be the student ID number plus 2 letters, and that will log a student in to Clevver, or you as the parent into Clevver. So I'm going to walk you through that right now. So give me 1 second to switch my share here. Okay. So we should have a new share, hopefully. Oops, where'd it go? Working on a couple screens right now. Trying to get us going. Here we go. Awesome. Okay, so I have typed in, I'm in the Google Chrome browser. I've typed in the clevver.com/in/Torrance, and I'm going to push enter. And then I'm going to see that login with Google account, as we talked about earlier here, and I'm going to log in with a student account right now. So again, this is specific to this child that I'm logging in with. Your child would have their own unique login, but there's the student ID number. And then I'm going to enter in this password, which is the student ID number plus 2 letters, which again, you can't see right now. And there you go, we have logged on to Clevver. So you can see what would be on here on a basic Clevver page. Okay, so this is for a student here, and you can see you can click and get the Clevver extension. And if you get that, it would add a little Clevver extension up here at the top, so you could do that. Again, you can also bookmark that clevver.com/in/Torrance by pushing the little star that would appear up here. I'm logged in as a guest here, so I don't have my name up here, but this is a great place to find all of our resources. So we could click on Google Drive and open Google Drive. We're already now logged into Google. We can log on to our E2SD platform. We can access PowerSchool and all the grades. We can get some parent-student technology help, a direct link. If your teachers are choosing to use Meet, we have access here to Meet. Here are all of our Google applications, Google Classroom being a very big one that a lot of teachers have been using. It's either Google Classroom or the E2SD app up here. Again, there are other trainings for Google Classroom this week, tomorrow for elementary schools at 1 o'clock, and then on Thursday for middle school and high schools at 1 o'clock, and for middle schools and high schools again at 9 o'clock on Friday. There are also trainings for E2SD at the beginning of September. But what's great about this is that, again, we are able to also access the textbooks. So a lot of classrooms, for instance, I know our math platform, if you are distance learning, are using the Pearson account. So if you clicked on this, you could log in very easily. Once the students are loaded in here, this would be where you log on to find all of your textbooks. There are other resources down here. I know getting a library card is important to be able to access books. There's some coding, and then a bunch of different applications that are available. So STEM Scopes is one of our science ones. So a lot of science education might be happening, especially at the elementary level. They might be using this STEM Scopes app. I know as a math teacher, I enjoyed using Kahoot. So here's access to the Kahoot. Already logged in, so the teacher doesn't, and the student don't have to do extra work. They just click on this and it would log them straight on into that program. And then there's some other applications down here. Depending on what grade level your student is, there might be a couple different options available to them. If we logged in as a high school student, I know I logged in as one the other day, we might see Overdrive in there. So there's lots of different applications, but a very easy way to kind of access our portal is what we would call it, would be right here. Again, you can quickly navigate using the sidebar as well as scrolling down here. So kind of a couple kind of easy ways to kind of access some of this information. Again, if we were wanted to look at a different way to access Clevver, it's also available on E2SD. So if a student knows how to log on to e2sd.org, they could also click on Clevver and log in very much right there. So why Clevver? Again, it has very easy access to so many applications and resources as I showed you. You can install that Clevver app. You can access PowerSchool. You have access to Google Classroom. You have access to all of your textbooks, as I just showed you a few minutes ago. And then, of course, a whole bunch of different applications would be available to you there. So kind of an easy way. I also know that you can download the Clevver app as well as the Chrome app on a tablet or a phone, a smartphone. So feel free to use those to kind of get in there. So those would be kind of an easy way to access those things. Again, in the chat box, there's lots of questions about passwords. No, keep the password the same. It's all controlled by admin. So please do not change the password. I don't even know if you actually can, to be honest with you. There are links to tomorrow's sessions, and I'm going to show you kind of where some of those things are right now. So give me one moment. If you navigate to the Torrance page, the TUSD web page, and you click on Parents up at the top here, you will can scroll down and find a bunch of different information, some technical support. So how about I actually show you what that looks like very quickly. So when you scroll into the, to the Torrance TUSD.org page, if we click on Parents and we go to the parent page here, oops, we're being a little slow today. If we scroll into the parent page here, there's a whole bunch of information that is available for parents here. So I'm just scrolling down the document here. This is where those other trainings that I hear people asking about, or I see people asking about in the chat box. So these are some links. We're actually gonna have a couple of these are gonna be updated here to go in here. So just, but this is where you can find those links tomorrow if you wanted to join one of the Google Classroom or Google Apps trainings. And then if you scroll further down, there's a bunch of different information in here and all the different district communications. So I know some of you might feel like you weren't getting some of the communication. It's all available to you if you just click on this plus sign and see those there. And then there's more information about the trainings. And then here's some great information. This is a great place under educational resources for parents. Here's some educational technology resources and help. So if I open that up in another page, You can see kind of a document that has some videos here to help you. Here's a video on Clevver and logging in to make sure you see that. And there's a bunch of different help pieces here available to parents based on what students are using in their classroom, and even for students to use, so you can see some access to the textbooks here. Another really big one I would point out is down here. This is how to use Clevver at home, and a technical troubleshooting guide for parents. So that guide for parents walks you through the steps that I just walked you through here online about. There's that link. Again, bookmark it or download that little Clevver app. You see up here on my page, the Clevver shortcut right there. That's a really easy way to get into Clevver once you add that extension, is what it's called. And then you can see some extra information about the Google services like Classroom, Meet, Drive, Gmail, STMath, E2SD, some of our books. So a great resource there, linked all through the TUSD parent page, which again, I just went to TUSD.org and I clicked on parents. Again, just to address a couple concerns about passwords and email. If you are new to the school district, they should be coming via your school information. So wait for that. There was an issue with some new students and getting the passwords or everything loaded into Clevver, and that should be fixed here very soon. So again, students or teachers have access to all of the student usernames and passwords. So once you know the students, who your student is, you can reach, or who your student is, who your teacher is, you can reach out to them and ask for some of that information about contact information. So again, there's so many resources available on our webpage to kind of help guide you through some of these things about logging into Clevver. But really the most important thing to remember is that Clevver is a resource that will help us very quickly log in to a lot of the different documents that, or applications that students will be using throughout the school year to help them. And again, these are just some screenshots from that parent portal to kind of guide you a little bit about what's available to you. So I told you I didn't have a whole bunch to do at this point to talk you through, but I am ready and willing to answer some questions that have to do with Clevver. Again, that's where my expertise is right now, is logging on to Clevver and what's available to you via Clevver. I hope I addressed some of the concerns about the password and teacher ID, but again, all the information on teachers and passwords is all available via your school site. So if you have a question, another question, feel free to drop it into the chat box and I will make sure I try to answer them as quickly as I can there. So let's see. I don't know, somebody has a question about last year's AR quiz. I have no idea if they still have access to last year's materials. Again, all the courses are updated based on new rosters every year. So who has access to what textbook is updated based on the rosters from each year. So that does change. Again, the link for Clevver, the Clevver extension, when you log into Clevver, it will tell you that. I don't actually know the link specifically for the extension, but I know typing it into the chat box right now, this is the link to log on to Clevver. So that is accessed there, www.clevver.com/in/torrents. ST, I'm going through your questions here. The Clevver extension, again, is just useful so that you have a quick little, I just need to click on that and log in. I don't need to type in the entire address. Classes start for students in Torrance on Wednesday, the 26th. I have no idea who you see, how your teacher is. I think that information will be coming out later. I'm not aware of that part right now in my current role. Not all textbooks will be virtual for some students, I don't think, but some of them are already virtual. We already had digital access to a lot of the different textbooks that were available. STMath might have went away currently just because of rosters. It depends on if the schools were using STMath or not. all school right now is going to be virtual or online at this point due to COVID and the governor's orders, because LA County is on the watch list. Clevver is not the parent portal. It's not, it has access to the PowerSchool available to you. Clevver is really an application, kind of like a landing page per se, where students can easily click on the applications that they need to access for their classes. So it's just a very easy landing page to access the things that they need to do. So nobody is going to school. Everything is going to be at home. Thank you for the person who added the Clevver extension link in there. The logins and passwords are the same for Clevver as they are for E2SD. So if you know how to, if a student knows how to log on to E2SD, they know how to log on to Clevver. I will tell you again, as a parent myself, I wanted access to that information all the time because I needed to stalk my own child because he wasn't so good at doing things on his own. So it's important to know that information. If you have issues with technology, again, regarding Chromebooks, reach out to your school site if you don't have access to technology at home. In terms of what application teachers are using, it is up to each individual teacher. So there's a question here about a child being in kindergarten using Clevver and Google Classroom. Clevver is not an application, it's more of a landing page, it's a portal, it's a place to click on other things to make it easy. So a kindergartner might be in there doing something on there. I'm not exactly sure, it's up to the teacher himself. Again, via Clevver, you can access Google Classroom and you can also access E2SD. Those are our kind of two main learning management systems, as we would call them, places to interact. Again, if we have anything that, once a student is enrolled in the classroom and the rosters have been loaded, there will be access to the applications that are available at that school site. Maybe somebody is asking about ST Math, the Penguin one. Okay, the same with Khan Academy. So a lot of those things, if you're clicking on them right now, a lot of the applications and the textbooks, the rosters for students haven't been all uploaded into Clevver to make that work perfectly. Susie, I think somebody earlier put in the extension for Clevver if you scroll up in the notes there or in the chat box. Classes are managed through Google Meetings and they're in the Google Calendar. Some teachers might be using Google Meet, some might be using Big Blue Button through E2SD. So there'll be different platforms that teachers are interacting with students on, depending on what they've chosen. Clevver is just a very good landing page to find a lot of those different applications. How do you search for apps in Clevver? If you scroll down in Clevver, there was a great way to kind of see the different ones that were available to you. So somebody asked that again. Here is a student's Clevver page right now. Oops, once I push share. Here's a student's Clevver page. Again, this is the landing page. So I'm just scrolling down through this page and I can see what's available to me. I can type in the search bar if I wanted to look for one in particular. ST Math is not on this one. I think, what else was on here? But I can type it in up here if I wanted to, and it would take me to that thing. There's the Kahoot one, or I could again use the toolbar on the side to help guide me in some of those pieces. So again, that's all available on the Clevver to find those apps. Yeah, Wanda, I love it. Clevver is a one-stop shop. It's all there for you to peruse and go for. So I'm just scrolling through all the text message or all the chat messages here. There's so many. Clevver did not change from last semester. It is still there. It's still the same. We're just trying to provide some additional support for families to help them help their students at home while we're still in distance learning, or if they've chosen to distance learn during this pandemic. So somebody wanted to say, how do you see the curriculum for different grades on Clevver? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to log out of this account that I'm in, and I'll show you a high school one. I'll log in as a high school one, and show you what that looks like so you can see. And then again, you guys can all see me log into something again so we can see how we log into Clevver. So here I am, Clevver, oops, .com/in/Torrance, oops, spell it right. And I'm logging into Clevver right now. And again, as I walked us through at the very beginning, I am going to push login with Google here. I'm going to log in with the student's ID number at e2sd.org. And then I'm going to enter again the password. The password for all students is going to be the student ID number plus 2 letters, 2 capital letters. So important to know those are 2 capital letters. And this will log me in to Clevver for another student. This student happens to be in high school. You can see a college readiness up here at the top. So a couple different applications instead for students because they're a high school level student, but these 3 remain the same. Here's that link to E2SD, Power School, and some help, parent help. Here's the Google Meets link, all of the Google applications that we could use. Textbook links, again, some of these remain the same. WebAssign is, I know, specifically a high school one, so that's listed here instead. There's more research tools. Overdrive is on here. Procrest, lots of different other opportunities or options there available to the high school students. You see a lot less applications than you did in the first one that I brought up, which was an elementary class. And then there's some help resources here at the bottom and Common Lit. So that's the difference when we see something with a high school classroom. So somebody asked that in the chat box. So again, if you are new to Torrance Unified, there's been a little bit of a glitch within Clevver, and our IT department is working with Clevver on making sure we upload everybody's information correctly so that they can access that. So you might have a little bit of struggle logging in right now if you are new to Torrance Unified School District. And then other students, their information should still be the same as last year. So any other login information, the Google login for their email address, that's all the same, and E2SD is all the same as last school year. If there's any issues with that, again, you can reach out to your individual school site for some answers on there. Somebody's asking, will they get their schedules through Clevver? I think eventually you can access, if you click on Power School and go through Power School, at least I can access my own child's schedule. I did last year, not yet. So that would be a good way to access it. You can click on the Power School logo in there and access the schedule in there. There is no need for the Bluetooth setting to be on to use Clevver. Clevver, again, is for all grades, elementary, middle school, and high school. They can all access everything, and as a parent, we can have access to all of those resources and applications available. There's a couple questions about technology being made available. If there is an issue with technology and having it at your house, reach out to your individual school sites for some extra support there. Yes, there's a question from Pete here. Clevver is mostly for the student, but again, it's helpful as a parent to know what our students are interacting with and how they can access it. Again, even high school students aren't experts on technology and need the assistance. So as a parent, it's helpful to get a little extra training yourselves to make sure you know how to access the resources that are available to you. And as that parent, you can log in as your student. Like I said, I do it for my own students, my own 2 children all the time to keep up on them. So I access it, but parents' prerogative. But no, as a parent, you do not have your own login to Clevver or their Google account. Again, there's a couple questions about some of the apps on Clevver requiring separate accounts. Once the roster for each class is loaded up onto Clevver or onto PowerSchool, then a lot of these applications will automatically have easy access. Right now, I don't think the rosters are loaded in yet for each specific teacher, and therefore they're not actually accessible for all of the apps yet, but they will be as soon as schedules are updated, which again, I have no information on those updates. If you do not have the login information, again, your child's teacher can give you that information, as well as the school has that information. I don't have access to all of that information with the ID number and password. But the ID number and the password remain the same year in and year out, so there shouldn't be something different with that. They should remain the same. Somebody asked if you're a new student, do we still have to do PowerSchool? PowerSchool is our information system, so there will be, you should have gotten some information already about PowerSchool. I assume before school starts that all students will have their schedule available to them. Again, I don't have answers on that. My job is to help you a little bit with Clevver. If you went, somebody asked if you went to the wrong Clevver, maybe you have 2 kids, you can just log out and log back in or open a new browser window. On my window, I have multiple different Chrome browsers opened up. You can also click up on the name at the top. I'll show you what I mean here. When I go on to my, when I go onto my Clevver account, I can click up here where it says guest right now, and I can see all my different ones. So here's my son's, Jack here. His accounts are all available to me. So you can push add. There's my daughter down here. You can add different ones in here so that you can see multiple different accounts, and then you can switch between the different Clevver accounts. So again, I just got that by clicking up here. If you have an image up here already of a name, you might see a name up here available to you. Again, some of the, somebody asked, why don't I have access to ST Math and RAS kids, my kids in kindergarten? They might be coming up later. It just depends. I think ST Math is school site specific, so it might depend on what school site your child is at, your kindergartner. Your Clevver password is the same password as a student would log on to E2SD or log into their Google account. So it's not a separate password. That's the idea. They're all available in one place. So Clevver is just a portal or a landing page place to make sure that you can get all of that information. Susie asked, can you download the Clevver app? There is a Clevver app. I found it on Apple yesterday on my iPhone, and you can download it there. I just searched Clevver app. Jim, I'm not sure why Clevver was asking for separate logins. It might just be because it was the class rosters weren't all added in there yet. That should fix soon. PowerSchool logins should all remain the same. I have a couple people asking you about a maximum amount of people in the Zoom. Yes, sorry, I think there's a maximum of 500, but this session has been recorded to make sure that it's available to everybody. There's also another Clevver session on the 20th. I think that's Thursday at 9 a.m. if parents wanted to join in there. Just reading through all the comments, it looks like I have over 100. Somebody asked, is Clevver used only for textbooks? No, Clevver is an app that's available for textbooks. It's just a landing page again for all the different things that are available to students everywhere within our, that's available for all of our students to access their Gmail, their E2SD. It's just a very easy one-step login process. That's kind of the easy way to put it. It's a one-step login process to access everything that we need. Again, to go from one student to another, Jackie is asking here. Jackie, to go to access from one student to another, I would suggest what I was showing you a moment ago, and I'll show you one more time again here. This will work. In Google Chrome, one of the neat things that's available to you is that you can have kind of many different accounts. So over here, here's my little Bitmoji here. And if I click on my Bitmoji, I have lots of different accounts down here. And so like, this is my personal one. This is a school one. These are my kids' ones. This is my son's school one. He had one for Boy Scouts this summer. And then my daughter's one. So you can create multiple different accounts, and they would all have different access to Clevver and other things. When I was logging on today as a student, I clicked on guest and opened the guest one, and it kind of started afresh. So you can, if you push add, you can add a new account on there. And that will kind of just be, like for instance, my son's account has the bookmarks that he wants for himself. They're his bookmarks, his account, and they don't have the same bookmarks as mine. So I use these multiple different profiles in Google Chrome all the time to separate my children and myself and my work and my personal thing. So I have lots of different accounts to kind of help out there. Let's see. There is a recording of this being made right now, so students and parents can access it at any time. So you will, again, have access. Again, Clevver is primarily for the students, but we want to make sure parents also know how to access it in case they need to help their students out. So it's just a good landing platform for easy kind of one-step login. So we don't have to log into a whole bunch of things, and instead we can just click on those applications and access them anytime there. Again, you will get your child's account information sent to you in an email if you are new to the district, so be on the lookout for that information. But they're trying to fix a login information with Clevver. Marana, I have no idea what the teacher for your child is going to do specifically when they start school. I'm not in the classroom right now, so I think it's up to each teacher to figure that part out at this point. So be on the lookout for some communication from your teacher. So again, if you have other questions, feel free to put them in the chat box. If not, I thank you. I hope this was helpful for you. That's it. I don't, unless you want me to walk through logging on to Clevver again and what's available to you, I can do that again. Just let me know in the chat box. I don't think teachers have all gotten their schedules yet, so you might not have received any emails from teachers, but they will probably be coming here within the next week or week and a half, so get ready for those things. Yes, Clevver is the exact same for high school as elementary, just the logging in, the applications there are different. A few of you say you just got on here a little bit late, so I can try to walk us through again what I did earlier, if you give me a minute. So I will gladly walk us through them. So again, if you're new to the district, your login information will be coming, I think, via email soon, so just be on the lookout for that. But let me see if I can help you walk us through some Clevver stuff again. One second. Lost my PowerPoint. Okay, so I'm going to share a page with you and see if I can walk you through, again, how to log on to Clevver and what's available to you for our latecomers. So I see a few of us are a little bit confused, so I'm going to do again for you to help out. Okay, so here, give me. All right, so to log on to Clevver, again, I'm going to type into, I'm going to open a Google Chrome, and I recommend Google Chrome. Download it on everything you can can, your computers, your phones, your iPads, your tablets, your Android devices. But I'm going to type into the bar up here on my Google Chrome account, www.clevver.com/in/torrents. Again, this would be a web page. As a parent or as a student, I would want to make sure that I bookmark and I have available to me all the time. So I'm just going to go to here and click enter and navigate to the Clevver page. Once I get to the Clevver page, I am going to push login with Clevver, or login with Google, sorry, login with Google. It's been a long day already. And so I will log in with an account. That is my student's student ID number at e2sd.org. And then I will enter their password, which is their student ID number plus 2 capital letters. And once I am on here, what's great is now I have access to all sorts of tools that my child would be using in this classroom possibly. So I can access the Google Classroom and I can just click on it and it should log me into this student's Google Classroom account very easily. I don't have to have a separate login to do that. Again, so the password is 2 capital letters. It will be given to you in an email if you don't already have it. It's specific to each student. So this student doesn't have any classes available to them, but if the teacher was using it, we would find them there. I can click here and access PowerSchool. I can click on this and log straight into the Google Drive and whatever is available on Google Drive. Again, if you're interested in some Google Classroom trainings, those Google Classroom trainings will be on, there is a Google Classroom training tomorrow for elementary schools at elementary students at 1 o'clock for parents. And then for middle school and high school, there's a training on Thursday at 1 o'clock and on Friday at 9 o'clock. In terms of using Gmail and Google Meet and Google Drive, there's a training tomorrow at 9 a.m. and on Wednesday at 1 o'clock to have a little assistance in those places. But again, this is a great, easy way to just access everything. So if my student was already enrolled in PowerSchool, I would see, I'd be able to access, it's gonna log me all in to the textbook and be able to see whatever I needed to. So if the teacher told me to log in and find something in McGraw-Hill, I think that's our ELA textbook or social studies, I could access it very quickly in that regard. So an easy way to kind of get to the materials that are needed. And there you go. This is not, the book is not here. You don't see it because again, class rosters haven't been added into the portal yet or into PowerSchool. But there's all sorts of other different things on here so that based on what the student is doing to access this. So all the applications are available. So if I was logging into STEM Scopes, I could click on this and go to that application. Jim is asking, will there be a training on how to use each app? Again, by the way, this is not working because we don't have all that login information put in there yet. But there is not a training for each app, but we do have, again, a training for Google Classroom and Google Apps for Education. The best way to find a lot of that information quickly, again, is to navigate to tusd.org. And then you can click on the parents piece at the very top here. And if you scroll down, there's a link right here to a calendar, and you can also access it right here to see other trainings that are coming up. Again, Google Classroom, Google Apps for Education, E2SD, and here's the Clevver one. So those are all available to you. And there's a couple questions about, am I recording? Yes, I am recording this session. It will be linked back on this page down here, parent information sessions and trainings. So if you click on these, you'll find links eventually to these. They'd probably be up there for tomorrow. Luke is asking in the chat box, are all those applications here on Clevver the same for each elementary student? No, they are not. I believe I logged in earlier as a different elementary school student and actually had a kind of slightly different kind of setup there. And I showed you the high school ones are also different. And again, Aiden is asking, did these apps, when I click in them, automatically sign them in? Yes, they should. I showed you this one did not here a moment ago for STEM soaps because our, just heard myself back, because the class rosters haven't been updated. But once they're all updated and in there, we will see all of those things up there for them. Again, there's a couple of things with Google Classroom that the teachers might not have sent you information yet on that pieces, so it could be coming. This session is really primarily devoted to talking about Clevver and using that. So again, kind of a quick, easy way to kind of monitor some of these things or how to log in. So if there are no more questions related specifically to Clevver, I thank you for joining us this afternoon and learning a little bit about the kind of one-step login. But there is our one easy way to log into most of the apps that are available to us. And again, this session is recorded and I showed you it would be available to you on TUSD under the parent portal or the parent area under the trainings that are available to you. So yes, this session has been recorded. And again, for the people who are asking where you can eventually find it, it's not there yet. That training will eventually be on the parent portal on TUSD's webpage. So I'm gonna click that, I'm gonna put that link into the chat box so you have access to that chat or to that page on TUSD. Oops, I think that just went to one person. Hold on one second. Put that link in there in the chat box. So there it is. And then if you scroll down on that page, you'll scroll down until you find parent information sessions and trainings, and there will be links down there to some information for you. Again, if you have any more questions, throw them in the chat box. They might have gotten lost if I haven't answered them yet. Again, Power School is available via the Clevver app as well, so you can get in there from there. Thank you for spending the afternoon with me, at least for a little while. I hope it was informative to see a very easy place to log in. Toshvi, I'm not sure about accelerating for our elementary students right now. That's not my area of expertise right now. So I'm sorry I can't answer that question. Hermino, again, we have 180 days of school. That is a state mandate by educational law. So there will still be 180 days of school. Dio, there is another meeting for Clevver on Thursday at 9 a.m. And also this meeting has been recorded and it will be posted up on the TUSD webpage under parents. So you can also access it there. So again, Abram, the meeting has been recorded. It can be accessed there on the link I just added to the chat box. So just scroll down there. DB, in terms of picking up laptops, please reach out to your individual school site. Gladys, I'm not sure what I can help you with, what you're confused with, but I will gladly help you walk you through logging into Clevver. That's our intent today. Santosh, student teacher information, I assume it will be coming in within the week. I have not heard much at this point. Sorry, I was on vacation last week. So again, I'm gonna walk us through one more time getting into Clevver. I see a few people asking about that. So give me 1 second, Gladys, I think that's the question. So give me 1 minute here. Here we go. Again, specific to school site information about meeting teachers and picking up books. This meeting isn't about those kinds of things right now. This meeting is specifically about logging into Clevver and giving you some information there. I wish I had answers to all of those questions. Right now, any meet and greet with a teacher is probably going to be digital for safety concerns. But again, this meeting is about how to log into Clevver. So I wanted to walk us through that one more time. There was a question in the chat box again about a little bit of confusion about getting on there. So again, to go to Clevver, I've logged into my Chrome browser. I'm going to go to clevver.com/in/torrents. So and then I'll push enter. I'm going to, once I get into this page, I'm going to push login with Google. And Gladys, I don't, this is where I'm going to log in with the student's information, not my PowerSchool login as a parent, but the student information. So I'm going to log in with a student ID, their email address. So that's a student ID number, and then @e2sd.org. And then when I'm asked for the password will still be the student ID number. And it's two kind of random letters that have been given to parents or given to students. So once I push those, I will be logged into Clevver. And again, Clevver is basically just an easy landing page to access so many of the different tools that teachers are going to be using in their classrooms. For instance, Google Drive, our E2SD platform. So this would log me into E2SD if your student is logging in or going into E2SD and have materials available to them. It is an access of a way to access PowerSchool for the students. There's also a link to the Parent Student Technology Help area to get a little extra information there. So this was a document. And then all the Google applications, a bunch of them, not all of them, I should say, a bunch of the different Google applications are available here, Classroom being one of the other big platforms. The calendar, our Gmail, if I click on this, I would get into the Gmail. Links for the textbooks. Again, some of these links specifically with the textbooks probably will not work until we have class rosters in PowerSchool made available. Some different tools for researching. We saw when we logged on to the high school one that there was a link for Overdrive here. And then some coding things that might be available to students. Some applications. As I said, I know STEM Scopes is being used with a lot of elementary students for science stuff. And then I think it might be Epic, might be one of the other tools that might be for sure used with students. So again, this is just, Clevver is a landing page to find those pieces of information. So I hope that helped out who that was. Again, there's a question about the recording for this. Again, yes, I am recording this session. If you go to tusd.org and click on parents, so up here at the top on the search bar, I just clicked on parents. And when I scroll down on parents here, here's a link to the other trainings that are offered here coming up in the next couple of weeks. And if I keep scrolling down, we're gonna see some drop menus here with the plus signs. So this would be a way to get information. So I think this is where the video from today is going to go in. There's also some other great educational or technology resources at this link here, the educational technology resources help. And then there's some more down here. So this specifically to deal with Clevver. This has a bunch of other kind of short pieces there. So I'm sorry about the Zoom maximum. It actually had a bigger maximum than the Google Meets. So I'm sorry for those of you who logged in late, but it is recorded here. And yes, there should be KB. There is going to be an updated email coming from Tammy Kahn today. We are going to be on Zoom tomorrow. I think you're actually with me for a lot of those trainings on Zoom tomorrow. And sorry, 500 is, yes, our cap at the moment. So again, Mark, if you are new to the district and having issues logging onto Clevver, you might need to wait a couple days. They're dealing with an issue with Clevver themselves and updating. Jan, for tomorrow, the Zoom ID and password will be sent out to everybody here in an email soon. But again, as I was just showing you, there will be an updated image right here on the web page that will that you can access that information. So it will be here updated by this evening. Mark, if you're having some issues still returning to the district, your teacher might be able to help out. Melanie, great question about favorites. I actually have no idea. That's a really good question. If we add in our favorites up here at the top. Oh, I guess you just push the star. Or not the star, the heart. So if you click on the heart, it would move that up to a favorite resource. So that's a great little tool. I hadn't even thought about that. So if you were using that, you could just push the heart right up here, and then that will show up at the top. Summer, in terms of logging in via Microsoft Edge, I assume you can. Chrome is just a very easy way to access a bunch of these materials and resources very quickly. Other questions here that I can answer? Students in the Learning Center still have access also to Clevver. It's a resource available to them. So yes, that's still something there available to them. The question about textbooks, again, reach out to your individual school site. I am not privy to any of that information here. So reach out to them to get answers in terms of textbooks. Sarah, I'm not sure what's wrong with the password and what it's, if it works to log into the Gmail account, it should also work to log into the Clevver account. Maybe double check that you're putting those letters in as capital letters. other questions? Whoever wrote in the chat box, what is the site used for the school? I'm not exactly sure what you're asking me. You should have gotten an email with the login information for your child with their student ID number and the password. And you can also get that information from your teacher when school starts. Thank you, Santosh, for adding those links into that chat box. Hamid, this meeting has been recorded, so you'll also have access to this recording to watch about logging into Clevver. You can also click on those links that are at the bottom there to give you a little bit of extra information on that as well. Yes, Hamid, we had some issues with the initial login for some students or from our new students, and their Clevver information should be added in pretty soon in the next few days, hopefully. They're working with Clevver themselves to figure out the glitch that occurred. So give it a couple of days and then try again. iPhone user, if you can you have 2 students in one portal? I, again, showed you earlier on my screen here, and I can show you again. Over here on the side, I have multiple different users within my Chrome browser to make sure I can kind of keep between them and check out what's going on. So I keep those ones specifically separate so that we're not going in the same way all the time. Again, I'm not exactly sure what the question is about the Clevver icon. This is the Clevver application. It's just a quick, easy landing platform to access all of a bunch of the different resources that students will be using in class and throughout. And again, Clevver is available as an app, I believe, on your phone. I downloaded it yesterday. When I searched the Google app, my Apple store or my Apple app applications on my phone. So you can get it there. But there is a extension. I think I showed you on my page here, my personal page. I have the extension up here at the top. This is a very easy way to access the Clevver app. If you add the extension on there, you could see on the top of the previous screen that I was sharing that it was asking me to download the Clevver extension. This would be a very easy way to download that extension to get there. There's a question about what does the Clevver app icon look like? Looks like that. Looks like a big C in blue and white. So there you go. I hope that helps. Somebody's asking you about talking to the counselor. Again, you can reach out to the, or look on the high school web pages for information about the counselors and their email addresses and send them an email. That would be a really good way to ask the college counselor to reach out to the counselor. Yes, this information is being recorded. It will be posted up on the website. Specifically, again, the website to get there, go to tusd.org and then click on Parents. And when you click on Parents, you'll be taken to this page here. And you can scroll down this page, loving the new plexiglass look we all have going on. And I would look under parent information sessions and trainings, and that's where it should be. If you push this plus sign, you should find some information there. And that's where Readiness, the RAS Kids and ST Math would be if the school is using them. So you'd have to double check again if the school is using those specific apps. That's where they would be available to you. Again, they would be down here within apps. This student doesn't have them. I wonder if I logged in as a different student, we might see them, but it's not specific for this student. So again, it's school by school basis. iPhone user, I don't know your name, but you log in with your student's Gmail account, not your own. Well, if there are no more questions, I thank you for coming today, and I hope this was somewhat helpful. Again, please check out that TUSD help page or the parent page and see if there's any other meetings you wanted to attend to get a little bit of information on Google Classroom, the Google applications, or E2SD specifically to see what those upcoming things are. Okay. Thank you again, and have a great afternoon.